Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. I will be reading the 3 new releases from March that I need to catch up on. So first off, I've got Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. Cara wrote Ready or Not, which was one of my favourite books of last year. I gave that a 5-star instantly. That one follows Shep and can't remember the girl's name, like Eva maybe might be her name, I can't remember. But it is an accidental pregnancy, which I did really enjoy. This one I genuinely know nothing about going into. Yeah, that's kind of it. I know nothing about it. Since then though, I have actually audiobooked quite a large chunk of it because I was in a separate office to everyone else yesterday at work, so I got to listen to an audiobook all day, which was awesome. I hope the same happens today. So I'm kind of hoping I finish this like today or tomorrow if I can audiobook at work again. So there's that one, and I am really enjoying this. I'm now on page 159 I think, but it's split into I think 3 parts and I'm on part 2 now. I'm really enjoying this. Our main character Lenny has just lost her best friend to cancer, which is obviously very sad. And she doesn't really know what to do with herself, so she's taken a nannying gig. She doesn't plan to do it long term. She just wants to sort of bounce around, not connect herself to anyone. But despite having obviously one of the biggest losses of her life and her best friend, she is still very much like romanticizing the world. Like she'll see a guy and she'll imagine instantly falling in love with him and the life they could live together, which I think is so funny. Like she goes in so much detail at every guy she makes eye contact with. It's awesome. And we follow Miles, who is the uncle of the little girl that she's looking after, and he's quite like grumpy, but he doesn't realise how he comes off in conversation. And he wants to reconnect with his niece because he was sort of like a secret sibling to her mum and stuff. It's very confusing, but you get it when you read it. And so they make a deal that he'll help Lenny get through her grief and Lenny will help him get better at looking after kids so that he can reconnect with his niece. So I'm really enjoying this. This is the cutest thing I've ever read. It's so good. So there's that one. Then I am gonna read the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. Every time I say the name of this book I forget it. By Laurie Gilmore. This is I think book 4 in the Dreamboat Harbour series. Is that even what it's called? I might be wrong there. And I know that this is I think a single dad and a nanny as well, so really looking forward to that, but again don't know too much going into it. And finally I am reading Wild Side by Elsie Silver. As you know, Elsie Silver is one of my favourites. This again, I know it's like a single parent romance going into it, but I don't know much else than that. It's like an enemies to lovers sort of situation. But as you can see, I am actually halfway through it. I started reading it on my Kindle, and I'm enjoying it, but not as much as Promise Me Sunshine. They both have touches of dealing with grief. In this book it is because Tabitha, our main character's sister, passes away, and basically she ends up having to look after her nephew, and this mysterious neighbour that they have, or that her sister had, is trying to get involved in the nephew's life. Yeah, and it's like a marriage of convenience, fake marriage sort of thing, because the guy Reese is on her sister's will. He's written to be having their nephew, but she obviously doesn't know who this man is, doesn't understand why she's not been given custody of the kid, so she's obviously going to fight on that, hence the enemy side of it. And they get married. It's really fun. You can see on the front there's a little wedding cake topper and a wrestling mask, so it's really fun so far. I am enjoying it. As I said, not as much as Promise Me Sunshine. I think that just handles grief a bit better. I am still really enjoying it. In terms of Elsie Silver books though, I would say this one's going a bit slow for me, but I'm only halfway in, so I'm going to read some more and I'll get back to you with some more thoughts. But that is our roster for the week. I'm doing really well. It's only Tuesday and I started reading both of these Sunday, I think. So yeah, I expect I'll finish this evening. I'll finish Promise Me Sunshine hopefully tomorrow, and then I've got the rest of the week to read the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. So that's the plan. I will see you when I finish one of the 3 books, don't know which one yet. Once again, very sorry for the light, but it's currently, must be about like almost 8 o'clock I think, so bedroom light is on, no natural light to be seen. I finished Wildside earlier today and I didn't really like it, but it wasn't as good as Elsie Silver's last book in this series, which was Wild Eyes. Is that what it was called? Wild Eyes? I think so. Which for me was like a 6-star read. It had me sobbing. I stayed up till like 4 AM to finish it. I was obsessed with that book. So a little bit of a letdown for this one, but 4 stars is still really good. That's like my average Elsie Silver rating. So it was good. Could have been better. Can't really lay my finger on why it wasn't a fight. I just didn't get the feeling. Didn't get it. I don't think I've actually explained anything about this book. I really can't remember what I've said. Basically, we have Tabitha, whose sister passes away, and her sister had a son called Milo, and she leaves Milo in the will to her neighbour Reese, who Tabitha doesn't get along with, and so it kind of becomes like a little bit of a custody battle and a marriage of convenience and a few other bits and bobs going on. Obviously, it was really well done. Milo is such a sweet little kid. The way both Reese and Tabby obviously love this child is so adorable to me. I absolutely loved that aspect of it. But I think the romance for me, obviously a lot of romances start out quite physical, like just lust. Oh, there's a dog entering my room. They're quite physical and like lusting for each other. This is Sky, by the way. So that was kind of, you know, standard for romance, but could have been better. For example, the book that I'm also audiobooking at the same time, which is Promise Me Sunshine, that is very much a like emotional connection. So I think maybe reading those two at the same time, because both of them deal with the topic of grief as well. And Promise Me Sunshine, I think, is just doing it a bit better. But I will talk more about that when I finish, which should be soon because I've only got like 2 chapters left. So fingers crossed I finish that maybe tomorrow, because I'm audiobooking it, so it's a little bit more wishy-washy on when I'm going to fit it in. But Wildside is a 4-star, and I will get back to you when I finish Promise Me Sunshine. I have made a decision. I don't know if I'm going to sit with this decision, but I got, what is it, like 127 pages into the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, and I am so bored. I don't know if it's just because obviously I've just read a single dad nanny, no, like a single parent romance, so it's like hitting all the same marks, or if I'm just a bit done with this series. But I think I'm gonna at least soft DNF this for now. I'm just not in the mood for it. Hopefully I am soon. But I have had this with at least 2 of the other, like this is only the 4th book in the series, so to feel this with 2 other books in the series as well, where I'm just bored for the first like 60%, maybe more. So I'm gonna put this down. I'm not enjoying it at the moment. So unfortunately this is a DNF. I don't think I've DNF'd a book this year. Maybe? I can't remember if I have. But yeah, so DNFing this for now. Maybe I'll pick it up again, maybe I won't. I think I've mentioned before, my mum is reading this series, so the books will remain in my house if I want to suddenly pick it up again. But yeah, just not for me, this one so far. And it's in 3rd person as well, which I don't particularly enjoy. Like, I looked past it for the other ones, but I think I'm just a bit done with it now. So there's that. And then, on a happier note, I finished Promise Me Sunshine. I'm obsessed with this book. I can't remember how much of this I've actually hit on. So this follows
Lenny, who's grieving her best friend's death, and Miles, who has been grieving the loss of both of his parents and his cousin for a while, and he agrees to help her through her grief and like navigate how to move on from the situation and just live with the fact her friend is dead, if she helps him connect with his niece Ainsley, who she is nannying. Absolutely adored this. Genuinely one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. Obviously the topics of grief, although I'm not personally grieving, it was a good book for if you're in a bit of a life slump and you want to start to feel like yourself again, because that is how our main character is feeling. That's how Lenny feels. She's lost her best friend, she's lost someone who was like a sister to her, and she doesn't feel like herself anymore. She doesn't know how to be normal anymore. She doesn't know how to feel alive. So I found this book actually genuinely helpful, because I feel like that sometimes. I'm in a life slump, I don't really know what to do with myself half the time, more than half the time. So I really enjoyed that. There were other like smaller aspects of it I absolutely adored as well. Like Lenny and her best friend loved K-pop, and I love, you can literally see it on my wall here, there. I love K-pop, so that was nice. I don't tend to see that in books too often, so that was always like something I'm gonna enjoy. Just genuinely such a stunning book. I don't even know what to say about it. I'm just so in love with this book. And the lady that narrated the audiobook was incredible, so believable. You could tell me that she was Lenny and I would believe you. Like, Lenny is real. It's the lady that read this book to me. So I absolutely devoured this, enjoyed it so much. So obviously it's a 6-star read. And very randomly, I think I'm gonna get a tattoo for it. I'm booked in for tattoos next weekend. And this feels very impulsive, but I also don't think I'll regret it, because I love the sentiment behind the book, the name of the book, just wanting to feel so like alive and in love with life, that you want to be reassured that the sun is always going to keep rising for you, and that the sun is always going to be there. It's just, yes, I love this book so much. I genuinely, and even like the cover, fucking stunning. I messaged Cara Bastone, the author of this book, and I was like, this book is changing my life. I love it so much. And she replied. I never expect people to reply if I message them, but it made my day. Everything about reading this book has been so, so, so incredible. So if you haven't picked it up, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I don't think I'm going to stop talking about this book for a while, so get ready for that. This is now like the standard I'm holding all books to. So yeah, there's that. Randomly, I'm going to chuck in, because it is a March release, I did read Sunrise on the Reaping. I didn't film it because I'd just done a Hunger Games rereading video, so I just wanted time to read that book and process it. So my brief thoughts on that, because it is a March new release, I'm sure people will be interested, and they know that I love the Hunger Games from my last video. Obviously it was a 5-star. That book was incredible. There were so many little things that pieced together so perfectly with the rest of the series. It was everything I could have asked for and more, and that is all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I might talk a smidge more about it next week in my March wrap up, because obviously I need something to say about it. But yes, so I think that brings me to the end of this video. Obviously we had Wildside, which was a 4-star for me. We had The Strawberry Patch Pancake House, which it was unfortunately a DNF, and Promise Me Sunshine, which is a 6-star read. I don't give those out often, so it's very meaningful. And technically Sunrise on the Reaping, which was also a 5-star, so I'd say that March was a very successful month. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Obviously if you've got anything you want me to read, let me know, and I will see you all next week. Bye.